Hi everyone, good day. Today is another lovely Tuesday, and I am super excited to have you all here. As you all know, my name is Valentine Away, and I'm your host for today, as always, anyways. And Oye is always my co-host as well, but it's not yet today. I'm sure he's going to join us before, as we go through the event. So today we're having a story time, and it's all going to be fun. I promise. But in case it isn't, don't crucify me. So it's gonna be fun and really to start. So we don't have a speaker for today, so it's just gonna be all freestyling. Anyone who has anything to share, story to tell, and just to probably share good news with us or share that sad story with us. Anything you need to talk about. So it's all gonna be a very open floor. But before we go into that, I'd like to do a little icebreaker so that we can come up a bit and get ready for what is to come next. So the little icebreaker that we have for today is for each one of us to tell us a story behind their names. So it's going to be very short. So I can tell you, my name is Valentine, and the reason why they call me Valentine is because I was born on February 14th, which is Valentine's Day, and so that's why they call me. So I'm going to pick on people, and then you can just tell us that short story about your name. And to accompany the stories, you're also going to tell us if you had the choice to change your name, what name will you call yourself? Or, is that clear? Good. So I think I'm going to start again. My name is Valentine, and I guess they gave me the name because I was born on February 14th, which is Lover's Day and Valentine's Day. Never got to ask though, but that's what I think. And if I ever want to change my name, I would change it to Raymond. Don't ask me why, because I have no idea why. I just like the name Raymond. So I'm gonna call on Luanis.
Yeah, thanks, Valentine. So coincidentally, my name is Ioannis, known as John, and my parents came from Greece and they immigrated to South Africa. I was also born on Valentine's Day, but because they weren't aware of the fact, uh, I got my name to be Ioannis, not Valentine as well. So chances are that might have been my name as well.
Yeah,
So you guys have the
And if
same
I
birthday.
yeah, we do.
Hey, that's so cool.
yeah, and if I had a choice to change it, I'd probably leave it as is. I'm happy.
Oh wow, that's super cool.
Cool.
Okay,
Thank you.
so Tito.
My name is Tito. That's the inner name the family calls me anyway. But on the document you will find my name as Christopher. And yeah, I am from Nigeria, but I've been living in Russia. I'm a Russian nationalist anyway, and I've been living in Russia for the past 15 years. And I have my cool family, and yeah, what's much about it? Been ups and down anyway, but moving from Africa to Russia, I think for the past 10 years I've always wanted to go back home because my my spirit always longs back home to my family, my friends, my growing up, my playmates, learning to speak a new language, learning a new culture, and settling down, finding someone that saw me differently from every other person that really didn't know what's the definition of color, and yeah, it's really been rocky, but because I always am pessimistic, and I know to have a better tomorrow you have to like sacrifice the day, and nothing comes easy anyway, so we all put our best to make a better life, not just for yourself, and most especially when you are accountable, when you have kids. As a parent, I always want my children to have the best more than whatever I had. At least I wanted to have better future. And yeah, Angular Nation has been a home to me. Yeah, I've been wandering around ever since. I never knew there was a home in a home that's talking about what visual effects. I actually don't like screen. I don't like communicating in screen, but coming to Angular Nation, I find that there's a cosmic effect beyond the screen that binds you to every other person you meet there. Sincere relationship, warm hearts, and everybody wants the best for you. And yeah, and that has propelled me and motivated me, lifted me, and the sky is just the spring for me. And I know it's just a matter of time anyway. And if I had to change my name, probably I'll change it to Spring. Yeah. So it's always nice hanging out with everybody here, and I love being here. Thanks for the opportunity. Yeah.
We love having you here.
Thanks, Tito, for that. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, Tito Junior.
Saying hello to you, Gabriel.
Okay.
Say hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Good to see you.
So
What's your name?
my name is Gabriel.
Gabriel.
Yeah. We know Gabriel.
Oh, I just muted the blast.
We know all about Gabriel. What'd you say, Rob? Oh.
What?
I was saying grandson.
Oh, Sandra, what's that?
I guess
Sander's new
That's
server
super
firm.
cool.
I moved to my back office.
Okay, I think we now have Bonnie. You can go next.
My name, I believe my mother told me my name came from a song, and there were actually several songs. I never liked my name, and I would definitely have changed my name to anything else but Bonnie, because it was not really I think it was a popular name a long time ago, but by the time I was in school, it was not a popular name. But you know what everybody says to me? My Bonnie lies over the ocean. My Bonnie lies, and I'm like, really? I mean, like I've heard it a million times, so it got kind of old. If I could change I mean, I thought Samantha was a really cool name, which is why when I had a daughter, I gave her the name that I thought was cool. Yeah, so that's my story.
Wow, that's cool. So, oh wow, now we see why you gave Samantha Sam.
I thought it was a cool name. And also, if she wanted to be a tomboy, she could just go by Sam. Or if she wanted to be a girly girl, she could go by Samantha. Or she could just switch back and forth. Or, you know, it's going to be flexible. Like Sonder, flexible.
Moving from back office to... Okay, that's cool. Now we have Agent Rob. Rob Ramirez.
He might be multitasking. Sometimes he's in a meeting.
Oh yeah, thought as much. Okay, so the next person is...
Hey everyone, sorry about that.
You
guessed
have other
Bonnie.
things to do besides hang out with us all day, Rob? Rude.
Yes.
Gotta work for a living.
Yes.
Yeah. So do all of us. It's okay, we get it.
Yes. So actually my name is Robertson, and and everybody says, "Oh, you're the son of Robert," but no. My father named me that because he loves baseball, and the baseball team from the United States came to my country, Dominican Republic, and he saw the guy that was hitting a lot of home runs. His name was Robertson, so he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna name my son Robertson," and that's how I came. I always wanted to be a Ricardo for some reason, not because of Ricky Ricardo the show, but but I like Ricardo as a name. But you know, I chose Agent because I always love James Bond, and and he's been my idol for a while. So I like his secrecy and the weapons.
Cool, man.
Yeah, thank you.
You're muted, Val.
Oh, I said that's good to know, Agent Rob. And when Bonnie said to me one time when I posted your event and was like, "Oh, you posted an event without the speaker," and I was thinking for a while, should I use Agent Rob or should I use Rob Ramirez? So that's cool.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Now the next person is Lias. I'm not sure if I pronounced that well. Please forgive me in case I didn't.
Yes.
Ilias.
Ilias. Oh, okay.
Well, first you have to start by telling us how to pronounce your name properly if we screwed up.
Your
Well, you
mic
don't
is
have
on
to.
mute. Yeah, your mic is on mute in case you're talking. Okay. While we wait for Elias, I think we can move to Sander.
Oh, hi. Well, my name comes from being a protector. I was given the name Sander before it was popular in the Netherlands. After that, loads of people were named after me, but I cannot help that. I would probably go for Dark Overlord or Jack of all trades.
Dark Overlord, definitely.
Oh wow, that would be like a sentence. Then, okay, that's cool.
It would be cool if you come on stage and here we present you Dark Overlord. I think that's cool.
Oh, that's great. So we have Osin Samson.
Yeah, hi. My name is Orson, and I was named after. I was actually born in Wales, Swansea, Wales, when Great Britain was still an entity, and my name came from my father named me after George Orson Wales. He was a screenwriter, movie producer. At the time, I think he was pretty good at what he did. And my dad named me after him. So I think I remember while I was in high school and primary school in Nigeria, a friend of mine told me that my name meant son of gold, and it was quite interesting. So I liked the meaning uh, uh, the meaning he gave, but I think at some point I researched and found that it was something else. So I kind of like to believe that my name still means son of gold anyway, and but I don't think that's what it means anyway. So if I had the chance to change the name, I wouldn't change the name anyway. I still like the name Orson. Yes.
Did you know the story about Orson Welles?
Yeah, I know he's a great
How he
person.
became famous?
Not really. I've not read much about him, to be honest.
In 1938, which I believe before they had TV, I wasn't there, but they didn't have TV, but they had radio shows. And he was reading it, but it was his book, The War of the Worlds. It was about an alien invasion, and they were reading it on the radio. But the problem is that people missed the beginning of the broadcast and they didn't realize that it was a fictional story, and they thought that we were actually being invaded by aliens in real life, and people were freaking out a lot because they were but it was apparently was a really good book and people believed it, and there was a widespread panic. I think I don't know if it's a true story, but that's
No, it's
that's
a
what I've
true
heard.
story.
Yeah, I don't know how
It is
much panic there was, but a lot of people were like calling in the radio station and freaking out because they thought it was real.
I have
Wow.
the original recordings. They created a CD out of that with some music added to it, and the whole
Wow.
story is also in there. I think it's done by the Alan Parsons project. They took the story, used the original sounds of that show, brushed it up, and padded it along with music and effects. And it is actually a really nice thing to listen to. But it is a true story. There was like a widespread panic in the States because of this It was not a story. It was like
It was a book.
Yeah, it was a book, but they made it into our airplay.
Yeah, it was a radio adaptation of H.G. Wells' novel *The War of the Worlds*.
Yeah.
And it was Orson Welles' radio show, and he was reading this book out loud, and people were freaking
It was
out.
not a book reading. It was like a reenactment of the book on on radio.
Radio adaptation of the book.
Yeah, we had in Dutch those things were called hoorspellen, which basically meant like acting on radio, and it was a load of fun, but it started a widespread panic in the States, which is like people were way more gullible back then.
No, they're still gullible, Thunder.
Anyway, Americans always want to believe they're aliens anyway. So any opportunity to believe they're aliens.
Yeah. I really wanted...
Hey, they chose an orange man as president once, so
I never voted for him, you guys. I just want you to know that. I really am very, not to change the subject, but I'm just very curious about the pyramids and the technology. So, but not that I believe in aliens, but I'm just very curious about how some of that stuff happened. If there are no aliens, then what? Elias is with us. Val?
Oh yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello,
Okay,
everyone. Sorry.
Good. Elias, good to have you.
Sorry, I had some permissions problem with my phone. Hello, everyone. I'm Elias. Elias Ilfoueh, you pronounce it right. Yeah. I'm obviously an Angular developer. I'm co-organizer at Inja Morocco. It's the Angular community in Morocco. For those of you guys, if you don't know, Morocco is located. It's on the north of Africa.
You know Driss?
Driss, yeah. I know Driss. He's running the. He's running the. I think T code. Discord server. Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't seen him in a while. We love Driss. He's cool.
Yeah. So for my name, I don't actually know what is the meaning of my name. I have never Googled it. So if I would change it, I would say something like Inji Elias. That would be good.
The Ilias is probably from the Greek play Ilias, which is spelled exactly the same.
Okay.
So I think you have been named after a real old Greek play.
It means the Lord is my God in Arabic.
Oh, really?
Wow.
So you guys are explaining the name of me to me. That's interesting. Okay. Nice to know.
What would you want your name to be if you could pick your own name?
I don't know, actually.
And that's why I said NG Elias, right?
I would,
yeah. NG Elias.
I would leave it with NG Elias, yeah.
Okay.
Nice to meet you
guys. Nice to meet you guys.
Welcome, Oye.
Hey guys. Sorry I'm late.
Hey, Oye.
I'm stuck in a meeting.
Okay. So we have Jayant.
Hi guys, hi. So my name is Jayant, and so my parents kept it because it is after the son of a Hindu god, and the Hindu god is named Lord Indra, and he is the king of heaven according to Hinduism. So my parents named me after that, and it means victory. And I would not like to change my name. I'm fine with it. It's good, and I never thought of changing it.
Well, what if you have the choice to just choose a name? Like you must choose a name. Like, hey, Jayant, you need to choose a name. Like a third name.
I would shorten it to Jai, I would say. So I'd go with that.
What did you say?
I would shorten it to Jai. Remove the last three words.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's cool.
All right.
The next person is Matthew.
Okay, so my name is Matthew. It is an English name actually, and I think the meaning is that it means gift of God. So why they gave me that name, I do not know, and I never asked.
Maybe they like you.
Yeah, you are a gift,
Probably,
of course.
yeah.
Yeah, they are obligated to do that. That is how it works with kids. You have to love them. There is no option.
Yeah.
So if I were to change it, I do not think I would want to change it. Instead, I would like to just change the spelling from an English spelling to how my tribe will spell it. So I'm from a tribe called Yoruba. I know some of us know about that, like Oye, Val, and Tito. So in Yoruba, the way you spell Matthew is Mattieu, but the English spelling is Mathew. So if I would change anything, it will be the spelling, not the name itself.
That's cool. Will the
So,
pronunciation still remain the same?
exactly, yeah. It's
Okay.
like saying that's polymorphism, kind of.
Okay.
Like just
That's
different
great.
from, but still the same name.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's that.
That's cool. Good to
Yeah,
know,
all
Matthew.
right.
Oyemade, Oyemaja. Oyemade will not trade his name for anything, but let's see.
Nah, I won't, because that's me. I'm the only one bearing that name in the whole world, so I'm good.
So,
I'm
what's the
good.
story behind the name and why? What's the story behind the name? And would you, if you would choose another name, like what name would you choose?
I think I wrote that. Well, so the story behind the name is that so I think it just means I think my name means like chieftaincy and royalty. Basically, that's what it means. Yeah, that's the summary of what the name means. And then if I'll pick another name, that's is that Bunny? Oh,
No, no,
okay,
that's
I was scared that Bunny said anyway. But yeah, yeah. So if I was to pick another name, I don't know. I really can't say because I
Dark
really
Overlord
like
is taken.
maybe Obi-Wan Kenobi or something. I don't know.
what did you say?
So
Obi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
oh my god.
I don't know, maybe I don't know. Like that's just like a wild guess. But yeah. But I think in terms of my name, yeah, I've really been satisfied with my name because it's just me. Like you go to Facebook, you go anywhere, you Google my name, no other person comes up, just me. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
Okay, that's cool. Then
Yeah.
we have the last person, Steven. Hey, Steve.
Hey, guys. My name is Steven. I have no idea. They just gave it to me like that. Okay, I think initially my mom is Islam, so my dad was nowhere to be found as at that time, and yeah, daddy daddy stuff. He was nowhere to be found. So what happened was my granddad from my mom's side has to name me. So my name was Mohammed Isa. So Muhammad being the prophet and Isa being another prophet, which is Jesus. Yeah, so Muhammad Isa was my name. But I found my dad and we settled things and he has to do the things the right way by naming me. So he just gave me Stephen. And I learned in the Bible they stoned him and that's not what I'm expecting. I
Oh
will
my
feel
god.
the
You didn't have to bring the Bible in.
I let they stone him, so I'm just praying it never happens to me. So okay, but it's spelled Stephe, but I would prefer it being spelled with a V, and I don't know. I feel like that's cool. I don't know. I feel that's cool, but I mean that's how my name is, so I just take it like that. Step hen.
So if you had the power to change your name, what would you have changed it to?
Honestly, there's a name I love, I really love, and it's not in my tribe or whatever. Just Igor. I just like
Igor.
the name Igor,
Oh,
and
really?
I don't know why. I just like it. It sounds so powerful, and yeah, and I like Igor too. So I'm a big fan too. So like, yeah, I like Igor. I prefer you call me Igor. You can call me Igor since it's not part of the Angular team anymore.
Oh, wow. That's super cool. I think I'll be calling Igor from today
Oh yeah,
onwards.
man. Yeah, yeah. I'll respond. I'll respond.
That's good,
Only if
Igor.
Igor is not.
Thank you,
Right.
Steven. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you, Igor.
Igor.
So we have Anna. Anna, welcome. Good to have you
Hey,
here.
Val.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're the last person on our list to tell us about the story behind your name. And if you had a chance to pick another name, what name would you pick?
Oh, the story behind my name. Interesting. um, I am of Italian background, so it's an Italian name. Um, Anna. I don't know. It's just pretty. I know that if I was gonna be a boy, my parents were gonna name me Marco. My middle name is Aquilina, so that's kind of really weird. It's like a princess fairy name. And then um, my last name is Boca, which means mouth in Spanish and Italian. And what's funny about that, I guess, is that my dad was a dentist, so he would always get people like calling him out on that. Like, do you know that your name means mouth? He's like, yes, I know. And if I could choose a different name, I guess I would just choose one that people don't have such a difficult time with pronouncing, because people a lot of times call me Anna, but that's not my name. So just something, I do like my name. I think it's nice, but yeah, that's it. I'm probably talking too much, but yep.
That's fine. So anyone is to be specific?
Yeah, I don't have a specific name, yeah, that I would change it to. Probably not Anna though.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's cool. That's good to
yeah.
know.
Actually, maybe a guy's name. I'm thinking about it because I was reading this what was it in Freakonomics? I think they talk about like name bias on resumes. And I know that they've done a number of studies where, like, if girls like pretend to be guys in email chats, then they kind of get a better response from people in general, unfortunately. So yeah, maybe a
Oh,
guy's name.
really?
Yeah.
So,
You
Roger,
could,
Yeah, Roger, sounds good.
you can always use unisex one like Kelly. Like Kelly can be for a boy or a girl.
Right, yeah.
actually, Anna is a Dutch unisex name.
Really interesting.
Yeah,
Nice.
we have a lot of guys named Anna.
Oh, wow.
Wow, yeah, that's surprising to hear.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much for telling us the story behind your name and your alternative name of choice. Really, 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 really love that. So I think we can move to the next, should I call it agenda? And yeah, this time around, just get to talk about if you have any story to share. Like we said before, be it sour or sweet, we are all ears to listen. And if we have any feedback, any advice, or if we need to just share, yay, we're all just gonna do that. So anyone at all can just, bring it up. And for those who missed the what's it called, the introduction, I spoke about having, spending a lot of time at the office and do a lot of Angular stuff and other stuff that you have to do. And sometimes you have to, you need somebody to talk to just share that burden or to share your happiness with. And so this is an opportunity to just bring it all out and let us, share it with you.
I finished. Oh,
Go ahead.
I don't know if I interrupted somebody, but yeah, I finished my first official unit test, and Nathan helped get the configuration set up so that it actually does pass. So that's nice that my unit test actually worked. The only thing is, and I think I brought it up in the last Friday social, is that I still need to work with the configuration because currently we do have the app module imported to make the test work, and I don't like it. And I know my husband like highly recommends against doing that. But yeah, that was kind of exciting. We got some movement at UPS, being able to actually run our unit test. So yep.
That's good. Good to know, and congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any stories? Anything you want to share?
Well, I can talk a little bit about the slow progression about in our trade. Everybody is always talking about everything is moving so fast, and everything is changing all the time. When did we invent ESM modules? Right, 2015. We are 6 years ahead, and they are still not fully implemented everywhere, which is stunning to me. That's not fast. That is slow. And there are more things like this. Some things get picked up quickly, but most things, the hard things, are slow moving, like really slow moving. I just changed my whole project of Scully to ESM modules. And it was incredible the amount of hoops I had to jump to just get it going. And I just finished today, and I found out I have another couple of edge cases there that I still need to solve. And if it takes me over a week, it will probably be a little bit longer for most other developers, which is, I don't get it. I don't know why this is so hard. It should be like an easy thing, like a couple of switches here in a config file, and that's it. It's not as simple as that. So, and rant.
Yeah, but I would say, is it because TypeScript didn't come on board fast enough, or would you say that has a part to play?
Yes, TypeScript has a large negative impact here.
I think so too.
Yeah. Funny how JavaScript that depends on node modules is depending on TypeScript. Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, TypeScript didn't help, but I don't think TypeScript did hurt too much either. The stupid thing is that TypeScript imports compiles all imports to requires, which doesn't help. But okay.
So
with some careful configuration, you can turn that off, by the way. But then
so you rather do vanilla JS?
That would have been simpler for me in this case, yes. And I have nothing against vanilla JS, because I love vanilla JS. I know what I'm doing, and I know where I have to check my types and where I don't. I like TypeScript because of the additional documentation it provides. It really doesn't save that much bugs for me. It introduces new ones most of the time, or it gets in my way. But I like that it is like putting in some documentation for free. That's the nice thing.
I heard somewhere that there was a debate between should you choose to create a website fully in vanilla JS or TypeScript, and the person chose vanilla JS because TypeScript, even though it's a superset of JavaScript, it gets converted to JavaScript anyway at the end, right? So if the browsers are changing and it might not be supported later on, the version that it gets converted to. So that's it won't run like naturally on the browser. It needs to be converted to vanilla anyway.
Yeah, the thing is, if you are choosing TypeScript, you are bound to tooling, because you cannot run TypeScript in the browser. You need to convert it first to JavaScript. So if you go vanilla JavaScript, you don't need anything. You can just load the scripts directly into your browser. And with the whole imports being a thing, you can just import whatever you need, and it just works. And it works like a charm. In the browser, ES modules work for a long time already. It is the whole interop between Node and TypeScript and the browser, this whole set around it that is giving it its issues. So yeah, I get the point. And if I would start from a small vanilla project or for a small website project, I might just use JavaScript for it.
Take note of the keyword small. So
yeah, well, my small might be a little bit bigger than most small, but yeah, a couple of if you have like a couple of dozen of pages, like 12 to 20 pages with little interactivity, JavaScript will do just fine for most purposes.
Okay. Well, see. Yeah, your mic is on mute.
Yeah, speaking of challenges, I think I was working on this Angular application, and I wanted to break the application into libraries and stuff, and it seemed quite very simple to me in the beginning, but by the time I broke it out into libraries, I discovered that I couldn't get my CSS to work because I was using Tailwind CSS. So like the libraries, the ng packager could not compile, could not process the Tailwind directives into CSS. So I thought this was going to be a few hours refactoring. It took me almost a week because now I had to research on how the whole compiling process works. So I had to build my own build process for building my libraries. So I used Webpack, PostCSS to convert the SAS files to CSS first, then pass it to PostCSS. Then it was just it was a very very interesting process, but I think it made me like Tailwind a little less than I used to because it was just, there was an easier solution, to be honest, was just to inline my Tailwind classes, but I just wanted the challenge and left it that way. But I think one lesson I learned was that I think it's a very good practice to always have your CSS files as standalone CSS files because it helped me because with that convention it helped me to automate the build process actually. So it was crazy, really. It was a really challenging this, but I think it taught me a lot about how Angular builds stuff and things like that. And I almost went to building. I was almost thinking about building my own builder. Yeah, which I think it might be nice to do because I think there's a custom Webpack builder, but there isn't one that works with libraries. So I thought about doing it, but I said, "Wow, let me just finish the project, then I can. If I have time, I could do that." Yeah.
I think Jeff. What is his name? I keep forgetting. Is it Jeff? Jeff Sander? Is it Jeff? Right? From
Jeff
the
Veltri?
NG. No. He's also on the X layers team.
Jeffrey Bosch.
Jeffrey Bosch. Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
also has a couple of things about builders too that might help out. Just in case. Yeah. I think
Thank you.
Rob raised his hand before I did, so I think probably Rob should just go next and I will do.
No, that was to interject on Sander when he was talking about the TypeScript. Thanks.
Okay. For me, it's really, it's just, for me, I think a couple of days, it just dawned on me how development started for me from the scratch. I remember when I first started writing JavaScript. I think I remember going through a JavaScript course, the one I knew I learned properly. I went over it 3 different times. Like from the beginning, I'm talking about like almost 15 hours of content. and then I had to go over it again and go over it before it actually, I think, stuck in my head. And I remember then being scared to work on any project that involves money or collecting funds or payments or stuff like that, which was really funny because the first actual job that then I would get was in a fintech company, which was something that I always joke about, and it's very, very funny to me. And then starting out, then I didn't even know Angular when I joined. I think I had to learn Angular because of the job. And I remember them asking me, how long will it take you to learn Angular? And I was like, 1 week. And they were like, I'm not serious. I'm serious. How long will it take you to learn Angular? And I was like, you said a week? Okay. I know. Let's see you in a week and let's see what you got. And then I remember going back, probably not sleeping for nights and just trying to get it all in my head and just to get something up and stuff like that. So yeah, looking at that from then to where we are now, in a situation where I so in that same company, we, based on everything I learned this year with the architect course and like the whole new architecture, the fact that we are working on things that are cutting edge is very, very, like, it's not something you think will happen. For example, we have a new system where for everything CSS we did, we first went and outsourced our UI design. So basically, because it's an enterprise, then we created a design system, and then that design system was then created in CSS. And then we have an Angular project that contains all our design systems. And then we have a AWS pipeline that builds all the CSS with Node SAS and then generates an S3 file, which we then use like Bootstrap. So basically, you have a single project that is like a Bootstrap documentation that has all your CSS and everything. And then you have a pipeline inside it where you still then generate CSS links that we use in our individual project. So no one has to go out and write CSS that is custom again, except you just want to maybe tweak a couple of things. That's one thing. And then another thing is based on the dynamic components and everything, we're able to go through a bunny and everything. We now have systems in place where developments that usually took 4 or 5 months, 6 months, now take 15 days. Because I know it took us about maybe 5 months, 6 months in general to release about 2 different applications. And now in less than a month, we've already released 2, which is a lot better, a lot faster. I think our bundle size are less than the really ridiculous landing pages with Scully and everything. And just to go from that to this for me has just been a big, yeah, a big, we have dynamic forms for forms. Even the developers who joined us are like, oh, this is like way easier work. And you just go in, just create objects, pass it into the component, and you have your forms, you have your tables, site navigation, everything. And just that whole process from how it started to now is just like a real surreal moment for me. And I just wanted to share that. Big thanks to you guys. You guys played a major part in that. Thank you to Angular Nation. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Val. So yeah, thank you, everyone. Yeah.
We're very proud of you, Oye. You've come a long way in a very short amount of time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Oye.
Agent Rob. Okay.
Yes. What do you think about? I know this peer development. I mean, what do you call it? Peer programming, where someone works with you and they code with you at the same time. But
Pair programming.
yeah, more and more, I'm finding out that when someone develops something, like everybody's touching the same application many times, over and over again, and as we find defects and we run into tests now, so the more I think that the person who originally created the code should be spoken to before people start digging further into the code, because the problem is that we're creating more bugs because we do not fully understand the mind the state of mind of the person when he was creating this code, and it's becoming a problem, and I don't know how to solve it or how to approach the team with it, and maybe find a solution to this.
There is a simple solution, and it is called documentation.
Okay.
the thing is,
So
you need
besides testing, we need documentation as well.
you need in what I'm always advising my anyone that talks to me is, if you're building a project, in every folder where you do something where you think, hey, this might be like something special or this might be hard to grasp, create a small README file in that folder and explain it there. And then if it's like a boatload of text, if it's a small thing, you can just use inline comments. Just comment in the text like, hey, I'm doing this because. You don't need to explain how you are doing it, because anyone can read the code. They can see how you are doing it. But what often is missing in the code is, why are you doing it like that?
Okay. All right.
Because often every problem has like a gazillion of solutions, and you picked the solution that's in the code for a reason, because you probably did a couple of things wrong first, and then found out, hey, that doesn't work, and that doesn't work, and that doesn't work, so I use this. And if you put in a comment that says why you did it, someone that comes after you knows, oh, okay, that's why this code is here, and he will not say, oh, this is bullshit, throws it out and builds something different, and put in one of the things you already rejected on forehand.
Right. Okay.
I agree. Documentation is good, but you have to be careful, because because I've really seen documentation done very, very poorly, where now you have something else you have to maintain and update every time you change something. And then people do, I've seen like tons of Confluence docs that are not kept up to date. And then it's just getting bigger and bigger.
No. Things like Confluence are not suited for this type of documentation. Put in a README next to the files where you're talking about. Put in
or
code comments
right there.
And say in the comment, hey, I put in a README and I'm explaining all the backgrounds there, but don't put it in any other tool, because that will never work. If I'm developing and I say, hey, this is documented in Confluence, that means I have to click the link, open something, read it. I'm totally out of my focus. If it's documented right there,
you just need
I will
more work to do. But what I was going to say that I really like, I think that helps, and it probably doesn't help you at this, Rob, because you're working on code that's already written, but just to make sure that you don't do this to somebody else in the future. One thing that I learned, because I started out my career fixing other people's bugs for years and maintaining existing code. I think everybody does. But once I got to writing my own code, I try to make all of the variable names and the function names and the file names super easy to understand, because the more you can put in there, if you have all the function names, all the variable names, like very, very, very obvious, try to stay away from too many abbreviations. I think that really makes a big difference, just to make the code readable. And also try to keep it clean and organized. Obviously keep those files very small, keep the modules very small, helps a lot.
Yeah, I think Oya has read some code I've written, and I'm doing those things for myself. I might skimp out on the why every now and then, but I do the variable names, and I keep everything simple and as clean as possible. How did you like that, Oya?
It was like really self-explanatory in some cases, even though I had to meet for some, but like you get the big picture in all honesty. Yeah.
When I was training junior developers and I was doing a lot of consulting, and I would always have, like I would jump into a pair programming and have the junior developer look at my code and say, can you tell me what this code does? And I would just sit there and like they would explain it to me. And I think actually I did that a little bit with Oye too, because he was asking me a question. And I'm like, okay, look at that code. What does it do? And we would talk through it. And usually it would work pretty well that they could tell me what that code was supposed to do, even if they had never seen it before, just by reading the function names and figuring it out.
Yeah.
I find out that sometimes, most times when I actually name my functions very well, because I don't really want to look at what the function is doing, so that I don't have to stress my cognitive, so I just, so that I can focus on the main picture, rather than, so when you're debugging and you have to start reading the content, you can forget where you are coming from and all of that,
Yeah, so this will train you, Rob, to make sure that you treat the people after you better than the people before you.
Yeah, use sensible names. That is the most thing.
Yes.
And one of the hard things in computer science is naming, and that's for exactly this reason. I often rewrite my variable names like 3 or 4 times while I'm building the code. I love that F2 in VS Code, which just renames a variable all through the project. I'm using that quite often. And sometimes you end up with long variable names that you can. This is actually too long, but it is descriptive. In Scully, I have like process by DOM and process by HTML, which is pretty descriptive, but it is a little bit on the long side. I prefer that than over being terse. If you are terse, you end up with something like renderer, what I had before, and it was both, and it was utterly confusing for people writing those things. So, but practice makes perfect in this case. And not perfect, it makes something a little bit less crappy.
Do you have a limit to the length of the name for whatever function or scene that you want to name? Because sometimes,
well, it depends. If you're talking to a Java programmer, they are used to variable names of like 60 tokens or something like that. This function will do blah blah blah. They put an entire sentence in there. That goes a little bit too far for me because you are losing the oversight. It's not helpful anymore. It's too long. C# programmers have this tendency to use like really long names. Try to keep it to 1 or 2 words. If you cannot convince your meaning in 1 or 2 words, then add a third. But I would say the limit is like 3 words, and then preferably short words. But that might just be me.
I agree as well. When it's getting too long, although it becomes more descriptive, but
And
maybe
sometimes
just too long.
I think if a function name is getting too long, probably it's doing more than one thing or it's doing too many things. Yes, I think so. You know, sometimes it's good to have a function that just has one line. It's possible and it's fine. You know, it could just have one line of code or 2, and it doesn't mean it's bad or too short.
No.
Yeah,
I know that is totally true. I quite often do this. I'm even creating types now that have like type ID, and that is just a string. But I'm creating a type for it anyway because it is more descriptive than just a string. So yeah, that goes for all the things. Be as descriptive as you can be.
Yeah, I lost you guys. Sorry about that. I was saying that I wrote something about naming variables a while ago, and yeah, you're right about that, Sander.
I know. I've made all the mistakes you will ever do. I made them already like 4 or 5 times. So after 6 or 7 times, it sticks, and I keep to it. So that's how it works. You have to experience it for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Experience in this thing. Once you get beaten once, that it sticks. Yeah, you get sticks.
You once or twice.
It sticks. You know better than you know.
The thing is, when I started programming, there was no internet. There was nothing. You had to learn from a book if you are lucky, and just doing it like a boatload of times. And all the books were using variable names like A, B, X, I. So that is how you're starting out. And that brought me reasonably far because I did some calculation systems and bookkeeping systems in BASIC. And those things just worked. But if your project is growing and growing, it becomes more and more cumbersome. And nowadays, it doesn't matter because back then we had like 4 kilobytes of memory in your computer. So long names wasn't an option. You had to be short. Otherwise, you would run out of memory. But that's not an issue anymore. So use descriptive names. choose the programming option that is the most readable. Don't go for it. Yeah, but this might be a little bit faster. A, probably you're wrong. B, probably you're still wrong. And C, readability is more important than speed.
Great. So it's time.
Can I just have
I
one
don't
more?
know.
Yeah, one more. Say on a question, like kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, sure. You can go ahead. But before then, I don't know. Do we want to continue, or should I just take the recording offline so that we can still go on? What do you guys think?
I actually have to jump off because I'm late for dinner and it's getting cold.
Okay.
But this is really cool, and I agree with what Sandra said about the variable names. It's much better to understand it than to save a couple characters and abbreviate it. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, and your editor has auto completion now, so you don't have to worry about typing.
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
All right, guys, I got it.
Okay.
Bye.
bye, Bonnie.
Bye. Good to see you.
So, there's just a part of probably because I don't really have that much experience in that part that confuses me, and I think it's how the decision-making process that goes into choosing languages for backend systems. Because me, I've personally, even though I've been on, like, I'm a front-end designer mostly, and I work on front-end mobile and stuff, I still believe that the most important part of the system, as related to the product itself, is the backend on, like, in the grand scheme of things and on the long run. So
It's simply not true, though. Backends are not more important than front ends. Your users are the thing that is important, and the users interact with the front end. They don't interact with the back end. So if you are going that way, you might say that the front end is even more important than the back end. The back end just has to make sure that everything is kept there and doesn't triple over.
I do agree with your point, but the fact that I'm looking at it from, because if you want a feature and it is not possible on the back end, there's really nothing the front end can do. That's how I'm looking at it.
I totally disagree there.
Okay.
I can build backends, I can build front ends, and I can do things on the front end that are impossible on the back end, and I can do things on the back end that are. There is not that much that you can do on the back end that's impossible on the front end, but there are a couple of things. It's not that much. I would say if you are going for most projects, stick to TypeScript, because TypeScript is also a pretty potent backend language.
Okay.
And you have way less content switching. So stay with TypeScript. If you use Node or Deno, you have like a proper backend, and you can serve more users than your application is probably ever going to get.
Okay.
That
So probably
means,
even Nest then. Nest is similar to Angular.
yeah, you can do Nest. It really doesn't matter that much. Depends on what you want to do on the back end. You don't need a framework. I was helping an enterprise building a new setup, and they asked me, "Hey, we want to use serverless, so we did pick a Nest for the backend functions." And I said, "Yeah, that is true." And then they were complaining, "Hey, it's a little bit slow on the lambdas." And they did some things, and they found out that Nest is putting a boatload of overload on the backend. So I talked to them, and we elevated what they needed, and I said, "Hey, if you build like 3 or 5 like helper functions, you can go vanilla JS on your backend, and that speed them up like tremendously." And it wasn't that much harder to build once they had like 2 or 3 helper functions. It was not that more complex, because all the things Nest is providing is also already provided by the lambdas. Or if you go for Firebase functions has also all those things that Nest is providing is already provided in those things, because it's a backend. They need to provide those things, otherwise they cannot function.
Yeah, I agree.
I think another thing, oh yeah, it depends. So if you are making the decision for yourself on what you need to, build your backend service, is a bit different. But if a company wants to make that decision, apart from the functionality of the backend itself, it will have to do with the developers available to actually build that thing, to maintain it. A typical example is building something with PHP in Nigeria. Let me give that example. If you're going to start a project with PHP, whatever PHP you're going to use, you know that you're going to be limited with a lot of people to work on that code. Or maybe if the only PHP developers that you have is off, no longer working with you, are you going to be able to maintain that code, or if you want to move to another? So those are the little off technical decisions that you need to make sometimes when you want to choose a framework. And also, in my opinion, too, I don't think the backend itself, when you talk about the what's it called, the language, is what really powers the application. I think the database, once you have your database well sorted out, figured out, well architected, whatever thing you need to build with it is
Yeah, architecture is indeed more important than the actual language.
Yeah.
And by the way, unless you are someone like Google or Facebook, you probably don't need to worry about the speed of your backend. If you have an application that has like millions of users, then you still have time to set up a better backend, or scale it up like a little bit better than it does before. I need to remove a cat for me. Go.
There was just one quick one. So in terms, how can I look more into those helper functions you were talking about, Sandra? In case you want to go like vanilla JS on the back end.
It really depends on your project. Go play with Deno or Node a little bit and build your own things without directly going for a framework. You can basically build whatever you want with plain Node. It takes you a little bit more, and sometimes it's harder to find a solution if you want to solve cores. It's like solving cores is like, I think it's like 10 lines of code in native Node. It's not that hard. But if you're going to search for that, you cannot find a solution for that. You need to write it yourself.
Yeah, I understand.
So it's not hard. You just need to read the standard and then build the code for it. But it is like 10 or 15 lines of code. It's not that big. A router, basically, you don't need a router for a backend. If you have like 10 to 20 endpoints, you can just use cat from Node natively. If you have more than that, you might need, or you have like a gazillion of models, take a look. But first, build a couple of things just with plain Node, so you get a feel for like what a backend does. And then you know what you need, and you can scale it up to using a framework. I still, most of the times, refrain from using frameworks on my backends because I will build my own. If I'm using a framework, I'm quite often going for happy. I don't know how you call it, because that is like a really stable framework that is that feels right to me. I think frameworks like Nest and so on are nice and easier to pick up, but also they come with a price which is like way more overload on the server, extra tooling on the server, and it might not be the thing that you need. But if it is all about context switching.
Yeah.
If you are used to building the way Angular builds the application with the direct dependency injection and so on, you will feel right at home with Nest. So.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah.
That's good. Thank you, Sanda.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Oye, do you have any update for us?
Yes, just 1 second. So thanks to everyone who will make it. I hope we all had enjoyed ourselves. I sure said I enjoyed myself. So thanks to everyone who could make it. So here on Angular Nation, tomorrow we have on the Angular South Asia channel, moving Angular Direct, Angular Material Dialogue Life Cycles into NGRS effects. And I think that's what's his name? I think Ankita did mention he was a member of their company. I think his name is Chandler, and he'll be coming to do that talk tomorrow on Angular South Asia. And then on Friday on the Angular Americas channel, we'll be meeting Alex Castell, who works at Neuro Apps. I think if you are the Friday social, what Bonnie was mentioning.
Yeah, I wanted to see that, but then I found out I'm speaking at that time, so you should not watch Alex Castillo. Go watch me on Angular Air.
Okay. And here on Friday, after that time, I think by depending on your time zone, a couple of hours after. I think it's just immediately after that we have the Friday social.
Yeah, directly after it.
Directly after, yes. And then next week Tuesday we have meet the AG Grid team. We'll also be having the Angular beginners talk with Bonnie and Samantha. First Angular beginners talk. Hope to see you there. And, yeah, so the next Angular Africa event we're having is going to be on December the 21st. And we have Wale Rahman who will be talking about live data with RxJS operators. So, yes, that's it. I hope you guys had a great time. Wishing you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
We'll still meet again. Okay, guys. Thank you for that.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye.
Yep.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Oh, Babaloni.
Hey, Steven.
Yo, I mean, I'm Igor, man.
Igor, how are you?
How you doing?
Fine, man. Tito, how are you doing, Charlie?
I'm playing with this stuff right now. I think it's cool.
What you're playing with? Okay.
I'm so cold right now. I'm outside.
Charlie, oh, that's nice.
How you guys
Charlie,
doing?
how's Charlie? We are doing good though. Me, I've been off here for a while now. I think. I don't know. For some reason, my phone and this notification thing worries me a lot.
What's
It
that?
just notifies me for 30 minutes to the or 1 hour, yeah, or 30 minutes to the program, and then I forget.
You can set it for 10 minutes or 5 minutes. I think you can do that. So,
And I think the Friday thing that has moved to 6 o'clock is messing with me.
oh.